Hi, everyone. It's Dr. Alicia Says, and I'm here to talk about the way to get licensed as a therapist in multiple states. So, without further ado, let's go ahead and get started. So, first off, a state license is one of those things that really can open the door for you in a lot of ways when it comes to working as a clinical professional, especially in the mental health space. So, there are provisionally licensed clinicians and there are clinically licensed clinicians. And some of those disciplines are that of social work, psychology, marriage and family therapy, and counseling. Now, for the purposes of this video, we're going to be talking primarily for social work, counseling, and marriage and family therapy. Psychology has a PsyPack now, and so their process is a whole lot different, but also it's more streamlined and easier. So I'm not going to be talking about that as much, especially because they have a more streamlined way of getting licensed in different states, and they have more flexibility. So, some of the common misconceptions about the whole licensure process and getting licensed in another state is that it's hard, it's tedious, it's complicated, and it takes a lot of time. Now, those things can sometimes be true depending on the state board that you're working with. And a lot of times, how good you are with your documentation and how hard it is and how long it takes to sometimes get certain documents. However, for the most part, I think that if you get all your paperwork in, a lot of times it can be a more streamlined process than what you might commonly think. It's also something that gives you more flexibility, it gives you more access to different types of clients, and it's also a great way to advance yourself professionally because you have a chance to look for roles in different states that you're licensed in or that you will be newly licensed in. So, when it comes to the process in general, first things first, you have to do your research and look at the applicable state board. So, each state has a state board that really oversees the licensees within the state. So, typically, there's a state board of social work, a state board of counseling, a state board of marriage and family therapy. Some states handle this differently, and some states have all those departments kind of housed in one big department when it comes to mental health. So look at the state that you're looking to get licensed in and go to their state board to see what those requirements are. It's important to look up their application requirements for licensure by endorsement or licensure by reciprocity. So typically that's usually an online application or a paper application. More states are going to completely paperless way. So a lot of times it's mostly just filling out an application online. So you'll look up that application and then also look up the documents that you'll need. Those documents are typically your transcripts, your test scores. Sometimes it's a recommendation from a colleague or a peer. Other times it can be kind of a list of the classes that you've taken and just verification that you've completed the hours that you need. And it also can be your state, the current state that you're in, basically verifying that you're licensed so that they already know that you've gone through those steps to get licensed in another state. So when you look at the application, look at the list of documents that you'll need to submit and start gathering those documents. Um, as I said before, it's also important to make sure to complete that online or paper application and turn it in. I've learned that it's helpful to keep copies of everything that you submit. And for social work specifically, the ASWB has a registry where you can just sign up for it and basically send in all your documents so that when you do want to go for a license in another state, you just let them know and they'll send your documents to the other state board. So it takes some of the guesswork out of the process and also makes it a lot easier. So it's kind of a one-time fee that you basically purchase at the beginning of a year, and for that entire year you get a total of, I believe, three test scores or at least one test score for free that goes to another state that you're trying to get licensed in. So it's a great way to save time but also money. So ASWB registry has been a great asset to me and also kind of a great hack in the process too when it comes to just making sure that everything's gathered together and that there is no documents that are missing. Some of the tips for the application is that number one, it's helpful to identify colleagues, provide recommendations. Sometimes we have supervisors that are hard to get a hold of. We may have supervisors that have passed away or supervisors that have moved away. And so having colleagues that can kind of stand in the gap for you, somebody else who's licensed that can maybe sign off on some of the paperwork, just verifying that you are a licensed professional within the state that you're practicing in and that you're seeking license in another state. Also, it's so important to read all the instructions about the application process. For the most part, it is fairly straightforward, but missing important details can mean that it takes more time. So make sure to read all the instructions thoroughly about the process. It also is really helpful to keep all your important documents in one place, whether it's a file on your computer, whether it's kind of a paper document or an envelope or a file where you keep all your originals and all your copies. Making sure to kind of keep everything in one place can be helpful, especially if you're applying for multiple states at one time. Personally, I think it's easier to apply for licensure in 2 to 3 states all at one time instead of doing it one by one, just because, instead of ordering one transcript, you're ordering three transcripts. Or instead of ordering one test score, you're ordering three test scores. It can make the process quicker because you're doing three at one time instead of doing it one by one. So I've learned that part of the process really cuts down on some of the time and energy that I'm spending gathering documents if I'm applying to several states at the same time. Another thing to keep in mind is to make sure that you keep track of the CEUs and the things that are needed for the application and also for the license once you get it. It's helpful to have like a spreadsheet where when your license expiration date is coming up and when to start that renewal process. It's also helpful to set reminders for trainings and licensing deadlines because as you get more state licenses, it gets additionally more complicated. And so it's important to be organized and make sure that kind of things are on the up and up. I know that for me, because I do have 9 state licenses, I use kind of an Excel spreadsheet that really helps me stay organized and really kind of have an idea of what CEUs I need to take at what time so that I can meet those CEU requirements. If you want more information or just want to join a community of other clinicians that are looking for remote and also non traditional job options, please join my Patreon, The Pivoted Path here. It's a great way just to get connected, but also to find out what else is happening within the realm of mental health when it comes to jobs and when it comes to opportunities that may be outside of traditional therapy. So, quick and easy, that is it for today. Thank you so much for watching, and please be sure to like and subscribe. I'll catch you on the next video.